Hey dude, Standu here. I am really bad at doing commentaries. Not recently, fuck! Like, I just fucking proved my own point. Literally, like, for the past hour, I have been trying to record a commentary, but every time I just go into rant land, because I'm mad. I'm mad that the games industry is the way it is right now, and even though I've been trying to talk about the SimCity 2013 disaster thing for, like, fucking an hour without trying to get mad, I always get mad. So I'm gonna try my damn best to, like, take it slow and fucking just explain the SimCity 2013 debacle to anyone who may not know, because it was kind of a while ago. 6 years isn't exactly recent anymore in the games industry. So, yeah. So, March 2013, SimCity 2013 comes out. I call it SimCity 2013. It's just called SimCity, SimCity. It's just called SimCity. But I call it SimCity 2013 because it's hard to distinguish from the original if you just call it SimCity, or like the whole game series as a whole. SimCity 2013 is an always online game, and that's not exactly the best decision they could have made, if I'm being dead honest with you, because SimCity has always been about the single player experience, about sitting down, making a city, and just, like, you know, it's not the most stressful experience of your life like a multiplayer game almost always is. Or at least for me. Multiplayer games are always very stressful, and when I would be like, I'm fucking tired of dealing with people online, I'm just gonna go play, like, SimCity. But SimCity 2013 rolls around, and I'm 13 years old. This is my introduction to the SimCity, like, franchise. And it's an always online game, where there's always multiplayer, and you can't even play the game if you don't have an internet connection, and that's a really stupid idea. Some people don't have the best internet connection, or they don't always have an online internet connection. If you remember the Xbox, like when the Xbox One was first announced, and that was also, like, you had to have an online connection always to even turn the goddamn thing on, and everyone was like, what the fuck? Why? Why even? Because there's games, you can play games without having to be online. Like, there's games that exist where you don't have to play online. You can play them offline. That's always been like that. Point is, they weren't ready for that decision. Like, Maxis has never been a game company that, well, was never a game company. They're gone now. Maxis was never a game company that was designed around online games. They made single-player Sims games. They made the games where you would make the character, and you'd go around their daily life, and you'd fuck it up, and you'd drown their kids in a pool. Like, that was the Sims games. And you can make a city, and then you could tear it apart with fucking tornadoes and dragon attacks. Like, they make SimCity games. They don't make online games. And while a multiplayer SimCity game sounds like a great idea, the way they went around it was wrong. And it was fundamentally flawed. But, you know, of course, maybe it would have worked out, right? Maybe the always online thing was for a good idea. Maybe they had a plan. They had a vision. They wanted a game where everyone had to work together towards a really, like, kind of hard to reach goal, such as an arcology or like an international airport. So you'd have a bunch of players that would go in and make their own cities in the region, and they would all try and work together towards making that one big thing. Great idea, right? And there's some cool ideas in there too. Like, if one person has like a building upgrade, I think if you had a town hall and you could add like these building upgrades to it. Why am I so out of breath? Holy shit. If you had a single town hall in one city and you had an upgrade to it, it would affect everyone in the region. And that was a great idea, because that means one person could have their city specialize in this thing and take up less space, and then another city could have a different upgrade, and then everyone would still be able to reap the benefits of that upgrade. Why am I playing with Legos? It's gonna make weird clicking noises. So many clicking noises in the fucking microphone. Oh my god, I'm a smart man! But my point is that there were good ideas in this game, but the way they went around it was fucking terrible. Because the city sizes were minute. Like, they were terrible. And I don't know if minute is the best word to describe that. They were minuscule. They were microscopic. They were pretty small. They were not big enough to actually create a city. They were big enough to create, like, a small town. So it would look really strange. It would basically be, like, a downtown area size at most. Like, it might not even be that big. Like, I'm sure downtown Chicago definitely, like, outsizes any city you could make in this game. But on top of that, you couldn't terraform. So you were basically stuck with the terrain that you had been given. And if there was a mountain, there was always one specific place you could put a road that would go up that mountain where it would work. And if you didn't put the road there, it would just wouldn't work. You wouldn't be able to go up that mountain. And that just limits creativity for almost no good reason. And so there were just fundamental game design flaws within this game. And on top of that, you had to deal with other players. And other players could affect your city positively, but they could also affect your city negatively. Say they didn't have enough room for fucking garbage. Like a garbage system, they didn't have enough space for it. You would have to either risk them giving up that city and that having a bad effect on everyone in the region, or have to give your garbage system over to them too. Like you could also send your police over there, and that's a great idea, but what happens if the person abandons their city? And then the access to your garbage system is just gone, and you have nowhere to put your own garbage system, so you're basically screwed. Like, there were just a lot of things that went into it that would make it inconceivably hard to actually work with random other players to get towards these large, final goals. I am making so much noise. Damn, I am sorry, my chair is making noise, I'm fucking playing around with Legos, I'm turning my phone on and off, I'm fidgeting. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna put my hands in my lap, and I'm gonna talk. Yeah, so basically, the entire point of the game was to work together as a team. To get to these, really big, jobs you couldn't do by yourself. You had to work with other people in order for it to work, in order to reach your goal. And that sounds like a great idea. And I'm sure if you had friends, it would work just fine. But the problem was that you didn't always have friends. Like, you'd get random people to join your lobby, and you almost couldn't turn that off, because if you did a private region, then you couldn't get other people to join unless you invited them. And you had to work together as a team to get to these goals. So if you got one person who either didn't know what they were doing, or didn't fucking care about the goal, then you kind of just either had to boot them out of the server, or deal with it. And it made your goal harder. That's assuming that you could play the game at all, because what Max has failed to realize is that people that bought their game actually wanted to play their game, and this is shifting more into the, not fundamental design flaws of the game, but more actually, the technical issues that the game had when it first launched. Like, there was a good 2 weeks at the beginning of the, right when the game had launched, for that first 2 weeks of the game cycle, you couldn't even play it because the servers were so full. That's a problem. You spent $60 on a game and you can't fucking play it. And then after that, the servers, after they got enough room in the servers to fucking, handle all the people that wanted to play the game, which had significantly decreased after a bunch of people realized that this probably wasn't gonna go very well. So they asked for refunds, and EA couldn't give them refunds because their refund policy is fuck off. Basically, you'd get into a server, and then it was a 50-50 chance if you'd just get booted for no reason, because if your internet fucked up at all for any reason, you were gone. And the cities didn't autosave either, so you could get to a point where you were working really well with a person across the river. Like, your city's doing great, the city across the river's doing great. You're synergizing, you got your police going over there, he's got his garbage people coming over to you, you got half the upgrades, he's got half the upgrades, and then all of a sudden the connection dies and he's fucking gone. And his city's gone with him. You're boned. And that's kind of just the problem with this whole idea, is that in order for it to work, Maxis would have had to have put, or I guess EA, I'm going to blame EA for all this because this probably was not Maxis's fault. Maxis was just told by EA to make this game, but the servers for the game were not good enough to handle what the game wanted to be. And the game also didn't even have a single player mode. There was no way to play offline. That was pointless. And I think it was to try, I can understand how it would be considered, this is our vision. We want our game to be a synergized experience, and it kind of is designed to be a synergized experience. But I think that EA also wanted it to be always online, so it would be hard to pirate the game. And that didn't work, because someone fucking pirated the game and they just couldn't play online, and you couldn't save. But it's just, they cut down on piracy by not, and they fucked over a bunch of people that actually wanted to play the game offline. It's just a mess. And it was kind of all EA's fault, because Maxis wasn't an online games company. And I think this was one of the biggest steps that led to Maxis' eventual downfall. And that's kind of where I want to end it. Not exactly a high note, but I think the thing that ended up killing Maxis was the Sims 4 thing. And I am not an expert in The Sims 4, so I'm going to leave it here. Say, fuck EA, and I'm sorry, Maxis, God rest your soul. So thank you all for listening, I guess, because it's not like you're watching the amazing TF2 gameplay in the background. But thank you for watching, and I hope your day doesn't suck, you know?